All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Welcome back, Trade. Welcome to our earnings-driven market movers show. We're starting out with one that's moving down, Hewlett-Packard.
Hewlett-Packard here, Joel. Kind of a wild ride for shareholders after report earnings there after the bell. The stock went down over a buck, then rallied, actually went positive, was trading into the 29s, low 29s, and then sold back off. So now we're actually down and trading near the lows, 27.79, down a buck 15 here, Joel. So wild ride, and we kind of ended up being weak on the day anyways on it.
Yeah, 29.36. It's where it popped there. I don't. Again, looking at the low, we are just skimming along the low right here, hanging out in the pre-market at 27.70 low, so you can use that as a reference point. Look charts besides the pre-market after the 2020 27.7. You got to keep an eye out for 27.05, Dennis. That was the high back on January, or low on January 20th, so I'd keep an eye on that whole $27 level. Below that, you got a double bottom at 26.40. Coming back on the upside, Dennis, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of stock to chew through on this one, and 28.78 was yesterday's low. We have no chance of getting there, but if we do, I'm sure you'll be met with a host of sellers. And just on a fundamental note, Dennis, I mean, isn't everybody in the world going to have an Apple someday? I mean, I'm not going there yet, okay? I'm still, your Dell guy, but I'm telling you, the tablets, I mean, do these companies, have a chance in hell?
Well, I think that's the overall problem here, and that's why you see a valuation, with a PE multiple of 8 on a stock like Hewlett-Packard, because that's exactly it. Everybody is moving over. And the tablets, like you're right too, Joel, you were saying that before too. People are moving into the tablets themselves, so you don't need the big box like you did before when you can surf right from, your lap, So that's the biggest difference, and I think that's what's been hurting Hewlett-Packard. Valuation is attractive, but the whole business model there is hurting, and that's why you see this, the stock getting beat up even when they do beat, on their earnings report.
They need a new product.
They need something there, Joel, for sure. I think that's why they were talking about getting out of the PC business, and then they killed the stock for down $10, and they're like, well, we better take back those comments and try to get some of this back, but it's a scary stock to own long just for those reasons. $30 remains such a psychological or such a big resistance level. That's not going to come into play here at all either. But anybody that got short there a few days ago at 30 is probably pretty happy about it. The stock trading down below 28 now. Moving on, though, we could talk about this one all day. Target TGT reported earnings here as well, Joel. It's had a wild ride too. It traded up to 55. What do I got for a high? 55.40, Joel. I've got traded in the pre-market here this morning. Now it's pulled back. It's actually trading down 52.80. So been a really wild ride for Target shareholders here in the pre-market.
And pretty significant volume associated with that. That just wasn't scary little odd lots. There was some size going up there. 55.40 does not look like that's going to come into play. Right now we're just we hit a panic low here at 52.20. I would use that as support. When you actually go to the charts, you look at you had a host of lows here from 52.12 to 52.31. I'd keep a real close eye on that area. If in fact it slices through there, major support at 51.51. But something tells me this thing is not going to see that pre-market low or the pre-market high in the session. Since it hit that pre-market low, Dennis, the highest it's been able to rebound is 53.30. So I'd keep an eye on that.
Moving on, Limited LTD reported their earnings last night. Stock trading down here just a bit, down about a buck, 44.35 after closing at 45.48. Stocks had a nice run up into the report. You're always skeptical when they run up like that because they can really fill it, in a hurry after an earnings report. We had a couple lows there, Joel. If we go back to early February, 43.69 and 43.81. We're about 60 cents away from there right now, so maybe that's your first stopping point if the stock really starts to get some momentum. If it starts to cut through there, man, I don't know. There's a low. You got to go back to 42.74, so it really opens up there below 43.69, Joel.
Yeah, looking at the pre-market low, Dennis, I'd keep an eye on 43.40. It hit that in the pre-market. It's had a nice uptrend since then. Let's see what happens at 44.80, Dennis. That's where the stack gapped down to. So if the sellers relent, we'll see what happens if it can get above 44.80. Looking at the dailies, Dennis, I mean, you're right. This thing has had just a monster run. A character at all for this to kind of back and fill a little bit. I do see the double bottom that you had mentioned there at 43.69.81. So let's call that 43.7 number. So that would be the next support area. And once again, Dennis, I taught you well. You got a steep drop after that, perhaps to 42.74.
Kohl's, lots of retailers in the news here today. Kohl's reporting earnings as well, which is symbol KSS. Stock 52.19 is where it closes, trading 50.75. So that one's getting beat up pretty good here too. I see a little size at 50.26. It's the only thing to note in the book. So maybe that area, you call that whole area $50 if it can get down there. There was a low there and overall a couple lows just below that too, 49.75 area. So I think that might be where it wants to go and test is that whole $50 area here, Joel.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole stick away from here, so they'd have to get it down $2.50 in order to get to that level. First, they'd have to get through the pre-market low at 50.41. Have had a little bounce up since it hit that, but let's call the resistance at 51. Looking at the charts, you did have that old triple bottom there at 51.50, 49 to 55. So if, in fact, it gets anywhere near that 51.40 level, you'll be met with a host of sellers. And if this thing is really going to go into breakdown mode, look for a test of 50. 49.86 and 50 were two consecutive lows back on February 13th and 14th. So I expect that to be major support.
ADI, which is Analog Devices, reported earnings last night too, Joel. Stock, I remember trading lower. Maybe you can find what the after hours low. I didn't note it there yesterday. Maybe you got it on your system there. It's trading 39.10 right now, though. So down just a bit. This 39 area, it had a couple lows there just from a week ago, looking at 38.98 and 39. Just trying to get 39.07. So a couple lows. Call that whole area 39. That's where the low in the pre-market here is too. So it's coinciding nice with those couple of lows. We take that area out. It starts to open up a little bit too. Do you have what the pre-market low was there yesterday, Joel?
Yeah, 38.
Can you
30?
Just say, yeah, just say that again. Just we're losing your audio. 38.
38.30.
Okay, so it really went low.
Yep, and there was decent volume associated with that. And the next bar, it only hit 38.45, so we're getting a significant bounce up. Now that we're trading around the 39.20 area, there's really very, very, very spotty volume here. So I resistance here, 39.40 up to 39.60. Here's a stock that, even though it's moved all over the place, you still may get a play at yesterday's range. Now, yesterday's low was 39.61 with the close at 39.82. And now with the trading as low as 38.30, I'd look for real good resistance in that area, Dennis. If we really go back into sell-off mode, of course, you got to look at that 38.30 was the pre-market low. Also, you have to be cognizant of a 37.28 and 38.16.
Sears Holding, if you want to play a wild one, Joel. SHLD, the symbol on that one. Anyway, Sears Holding trading up over $8 here, Joel, on their earnings report. So wild stock. This stock bottomed out earlier in the year at 28.89. It's now trading $60, more than doubled here in 2 months on a stock that, look at the, I don't know, from a fundamental perspective, I wouldn't want to be an owner of Sears. I think this started as a short squeeze, and now it's just, purely just people speculating, oh, it's going to move back to, those highs where it was trading, in the 80, 90 area. I don't see that happening. I still think, eventually this thing is a sell. I just don't know at what point that all this shorts just get squeezed out and throw in the towel. That's, going to be whatever capitulatory move. It is kind of looking like a capitulatory move today, though. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do make a short-term top here somewhere today. But, man, the price is just all over the place.
Yeah, boy, Eddie Lambert's surely lucking out on this one here. Well, it hit a pre-market high at 62.37. Some decent volume associated with that. I think right now I would keep an eye on the $60 level, Dennis. You had a high on December 8th at 60.22 and 61.18. So anybody back in December is just praying for it to get back to $60. I'd keep an eye on that. If it can't hold 60 in the pre-market, man, I wouldn't want to own that. Long way to go back down. If in fact it could take out that pre-market high, Dennis, let's just say it will go to 65.
This stock's just such a scary stock to trade, Joel. I'm sitting on my hands on SHLD. I want no part of that one because you got too many factors in there: earnings, short squeezes, poor company fundamentals, really overall. So I'm just sitting on my hands. I don't know where that thing stops. But, eventually I think it's a lot lower, but that's a longer-term perspective. So that's really all we've got today. There's lots of little movers. We're seeing a lot of strength across the board, really, in a lot of stocks, considering we're only up a couple bucks. Seeing quite a few stocks trading higher, a lot of commodity stocks trading higher, too. I know RIG is trading up over $3. I think it was on the judge ruling over there. But RIG trading up significantly, too. So you got a lot of commodities trading higher. And that's going to be your driver, I think, here today.
Okay, let's keep an eye here, 1358. We need to hold in here, go back up and test that overnight high, 1362 and a quarter. Don't look for a breakdown in this market, folks, until we take out this 1353. That is looming as the level of the month, so keep an eye on that, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.